Hello everyone. For this review, we've got the Hasbro Transformers Studio Series 109 Concept Megatron. I've been looking forward to getting this guy and being able to review it. I wish we could have actually seen him in the Bumblebee movie, but I think Hasbro at the time was still in this weird place where they were trying to make the Bumblebee movie possibly line up with the other movies. But yeah. Um Looking at Megatron here in the box, he seems a little small. Now, I know that he's a leader because of the complexity or the parts count, and I know that there's a good bit of paint apps on him. So I'm sure all that has to do with him being leader class, and I'm actually fine with that. They've been doing this for a while with these releases. For instance, Shockwave back in War for Cybertron, Optimus with Earthrise, Rodimus with Kingdom. I'm fine with it as long as you're getting your money's worth from the larger price point. Yeah. So um overall, nice design on the box. We get to see this nice look from Megatron on the front, this rendering. Um, really looks good. We can see quite a bit of detail. On the side here, we've got a portrait of his face. And on the other side, kind of a zoomed back look. And you see this kind of cutaway showing kind of a blueprint, which is pretty cool. I guess this is how they designate, you know, concept art series. And then on the back, we've got the robot mode, the land mode, and the flight mode. We've got 32 steps and 39 steps. So this is going to take quite a bit of transforming. um, yeah, and you see the little display here. So let's get this guy out of the package and let's go over the figure, see if this is worth the leader price. Okay, so here he is out of the package. I've got the diorama displayed with him. I don't normally keep the dioramas, but for the review, I just want to show this off for people who like these. Yeah, his head looks a little small compared to the rest of the body. I don't think it's a big deal, but it makes him look lanky. It definitely made him look really small inside the pack. There's just so much detail on here and lots of little tiny little paint applications everywhere. The face isn't showing up well here, but um, so let's get the diorama moved out the way. So here we have just Megatron, and his presence definitely is very formidable. Lots of paint apps everywhere. I mean, paint on the shoulders, the chest. Nice little black Decepticon symbol here. Just paint apps everywhere. I mean, it's just kind of incredible. I like the red on the legs, on the elbows, and there's good color contrast between the dark grays, the light grays, the painted areas. Even on the Fusion Cannon, you got the red. And we look at the back. Not a lot of color, but there's a lot of detail. There's some paint, coming from bleeding over from the front side. so it doesn't look just completely plain. So that's nice. Um, the back, the treads, this is fine. A lot of detail, a lot of contrast, and yeah, the gray on the top, gray on the head. So it's enough to make even the back look interesting. So articulation, he's got some pretty good articulation head on a ball joint. He's got nice hinge swivel on the shoulders. He's got double elbow. It's a little bit hindered because of the sculpt, but it does its work. Hand, yeah. And oh wow. He's got articulated fingers. The knuckle is at the middle joint, one for the finger, the rest for the other three fingers. That is nice. Wow. And thumb, no movement on the thumb. That's fine. Let's see. The hips are decent. Yep. Hips are on a disc hinge with swivel. The knees are a single hinge, but because of the sculpt, they get pretty deep. Likely transformation stuff going on here too. The feet, there is, let's see, there is a rocker and up and down, which is a separate joint. Yeah. So good articulation. And even the fusion cannon's got some articulation. You can get this in all kinds of crazy poses. That's cool. Okay, so let's do some comparisons. Here he is with Studio Series Optimus from the Bumblebee movie. Now, my copy is a KO. At the time I got this, it was really hard to find the Hasbro version, although he's available for pre-order again, so that's awesome. So Megatron is quite a bit taller. That's been a thing in the movie series, so I'm okay with that. But they look pretty good together. And let's bring out Bumblebee. I think Bumblebee scales well with Optimus and therefore pretty good with Megatron. All right, and just for some extra comparison, here he is with the Bayverse Megatron, and they're of similar height. This shoulder's kind of, yeah, here we go. Let me get the shoulder back in. They are of similar height. Bayverse Megatron's a little bit taller, but then you look at the shoulders, and Bumblebee's shoulders are a little bit higher, so there's just different proportions going on here, which is fine. And just for one more comparison, here he is with Earthrise Megatron. The only comparison here is that they're both Megatrons, like the aesthetic is different, but just to see how the designers try to get this Megatron to look G1-ish. You know, you got the fusion cannon on the side, the bucket head, the plate for the chest, and let's bring in Bayverse. And you can kind of see this amalgamation of what they were trying to accomplish with this Bumblebee Megatron. So I think I think they did good. I really wish we could have seen him in the movie. So yeah. All right. So let's get him into vehicle mode and let's see what that looks like. All right, so here he is in the tank mode, and it's interesting. um, they give you a lot of hinges to make this thing maneuverable, and it does look like a tank for the most part. It's the design is just kind of hodgepodge. You can tell that maybe there wasn't much of a vehicle mode thought out for this for the movie, and Hasbro took what was there and came up with something. It's not bad, and this is probably going to be the better of the two modes, but it's just like, you know, it looks like robot crunched together. I think it's okay though. It's just getting this into this mode. There's a lot of twisting and turning, and it is pretty complex. Like I can't imagine anybody figuring this transformation out on their own. You're gonna have to look at some instructions or some transformation videos or something to get this thing going. And I think I need to turn this turret. Yeah. So you kind of want to have that notch pointed upward. It's interesting. And like I said, with all the hinges, you can get some crazy kind of stuff going on with it. You can raise a turret up and have him do some real, targeted blasting at some Autobots. But that's okay. I think it's all right. So let's move on to the flight mode and we'll see how that looks. Okay, so here is the flight mode, and it is, I mean, kind of looks interesting, but it's very much like, how can we put this robot into some type of pose? It's definitely the weaker of the two vehicle modes. It's a nice idea. It looks kind of cool, but it's not the most functional. You're also supposed to have the the turret down here, but there's not enough space to get this pegged in here because you got these flaps here also. Um, you can't really put this anywhere. I mean, you could kind of, I don't know, I guess you could just jam it, but then, it's going to fall out. There are some pegs at the top, and you could easily, sorry, I'm doing this off camera. You could easily put it there, and kind of gives it this silhouette of like a Gundam wing or maybe Macross, but that's the flight mode. So the two vehicle modes are kind of, well, I say kind of. The two vehicle modes are, I'm going to say, thrown together, imagined, and knowing this is a concept design, there's just no telling if the original designers got this far in figuring out some way to have a vehicle mode. And if that's the case, Hasbro tried with what they had, and it's just not strong. It's not the worst thing ever, but generally the vehicle modes in the movie series stuff tend to be very concise, mostly because there's a lot of licensed real mode vehicles, so they do their best to make the vehicle modes look really well, and sometimes it takes away from the robot mode. Here we've got a very faithful robot mode that is just trying to do its best to be a triple changer, and it's just a little lacking. Nevertheless, I still appreciate it. It is cool for what it's trying to be. The colors, they pop. They look really good. Having this black nose sticking out, and then the red, visor, cockpit sensor, whatever that's supposed to be. It looks pretty cool. And then having these knee pieces jut out also looks nice. I mean, they managed to give us some wings, you know, and these flaps, these hip flaps, you know, form this area in the back, and it's interesting. Like, could it be better? Yes, but considering they took something that may have been 80 or 90% complete and came up with a vehicle mode, I give them that. So, A for effort there. So that's a review. Definitely a recommend, if only for the robot mode, because how can you have an Optimus and not have a Megatron to go with them? So if you can, pick them up if you don't already have them, and it's a good figure for what it is. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and check out some more reviews coming up.